Hello everyone. I'll be talking about megaloblastic anemia. So what is megaloblastic anemia? Megaloblastic anemia is the presence of macrocytes and hypersegmented neutrophil in the peripheral blood smear, and also the presence of large immature megaloblast with large nucleus in the bone marrow. Coming on to the causes of megaloblastic anemia, basically the megaloblastic anemia is caused by the deficiency of vitamin B12 and deficiency of folate. So why these both vitamins are important? The vitamin B12 and folate both are important for the DNA synthesis and normal maturation of the nucleus of the RBCs. So if the vitamin B12 is not there and the folate is not there, then the nucleus maturation will not take place, and that will lead to decreased replication of the nucleus, that leads to decreased RBC production. So the vitamin B12 is essential for the conversion of methyl malenyl CoA to the succinyl CoA, which is important for the DNA synthesis. And also the folate is essential for the conversion of uracil to thiamine in the nucleic acid synthesis. So both deficiency of vitamin B12 and folate deficiency will cause megaloblastic anemia. The causes for vitamin B12 is malabsorption of vitamin B12. The main reason is one, the pernicious anemia, which is the absence of intrinsic factor in uh, stomach, which leads to malabsorption of vitamin B12, because the intrinsic factor has to bind with vitamin B12 for vitamin B12 absorption in the ileum. So in the absence of intrinsic factor, the vitamin B12 absorption will be defective. Even though the dietary vitamin B12 intake is normal, the absorption will be poor in the absence of intrinsic factor. The next one is poor dietary intake of vitamin B12. Mostly the vegetarians will lack vitamin B12 in the diet, and the surgical removal of a major portion of stomach. So the loss of the parietal cells after gastrectomy, that leads to decreased decreased intrinsic factor production. So that leads to vitamin B12 malabsorption. So all these are the reason for vitamin B12 deficiency. And for folate deficiency, there's a poor intake of folate in diet. In chronic alcoholics also, there will be decreased absorption of folate and increased demands in hemolysis and pregnancy, and there is a malabsorption, and usage of anti-folate drugs in chemotherapy also leads to folate deficiency. So remember, vitamin B12 is essential for DNA synthesis and replication of the DNA, and folic acid is also important for the formation of thiamine from the uracil, which is a nucleotide in the DNA. So basically, the absence of vitamin B12 and folate leads to decreased DNA synthesis. So there will be larger cells in the, in the bone marrow, that is called megaloblast, and the cell division also affects. So the cell division will not take place, so there will be a decreased number of production of RBCs, that leads to anemia. So next, I already mentioned about pernicious anemia. It is due to the deficiency of vitamin B12 because of stomach cannot produce intrinsic factor. Intrinsic factors comes from the parietal cells. So absence of intrinsic factor, vitamin B12 will not get absorbed. So coming on to pathogenesis of megaloblastic anemia. So vitamin B12 and folate deficiency impairs DNA synthesis, delayed nuclear maturation, and the important thing here is the hemoglobin synthesis is normal, and only the nuclear maturation is affected. So the cytoplasm also matures normally. So there will be disproportion of cytoplasm and nucleus maturation, that leads to nucleus is immature and it seem like chromatin. So there will be defective erythropoiesis. It is called as ineffective erythropoiesis that leads to anemia. So this is the pathogenesis of megaloblastic anemia. And it not only affect the RBCs, even the WBCs also gets affected in megaloblastic anemia because the basic problem is the maturation of the nucleus. Right? So even in the WBCs, maturation also will be get affected. So the nuclear will become hyper-segmented in WBC. So it is called as hyper-segmented megaloblastic neutrophils. So because of the defect in the DNA synthesis of the neutrophils. So you can see macrocytes and hypersegmented neutrophils in the blood smear in megaloblastic anemia. Coming on to symptoms of megaloblastic anemia, you can see all the symptoms of anemia because in megaloblastic anemia the RBC production is less. So whatever symptoms you get in anemia, also you get in megaloblastic anemia like fatigue, shortness of breath, okay, and there'll be pallor is present, and there'll be tachycardia and headache. All these are general symptoms of anemia because of lack of RBCs. So the the oxygen carrying capacity also decreases. That leads to all the fatigue and tiredness, all this you get, and the digestive tract, you get mouth ulcer and glossitis, and there'll be loss of appetite and diarrhea. So all these are symptoms of megaloblastic anemia. So coming into laboratory investigations, the basic lab investigations you should do is complete blood picture. So in CBC, you will come to see that MCV, that is mean corpuscular volume. So the MCV is definitely more than 90 in case of megaloblastic anemia. And if you see the bone marrow examination, you can see that erythroid hyperplasia both in vitamin B12 and folate deficiency in the presence of megaloblast. And important difference is serum vitamin B12 is normal in folate deficiency and decreased in vitamin B12 deficiency. And folate is decreased in folate deficiency and normal in vitamin B12 deficiency. And the methyl melanin chromosomes are normal in folate and increased in vitamin B12 deficiency. See, the antibodies to intrinsic factor and the gastric pyritel cell is absent in folate deficiency, which is present in the pernicious anemia. So one important thing is folate deficiency also causes megaloblastic anemia. Vitamin B12 deficiency also causes megaloblastic anemia. So the important difference is in vitamin B12 deficiency, you will be having nervous system problem also. That is because vitamin B12 is essential for the normal myelin sheath formation. So there will be defective myelin sheath formation in vitamin B12 deficiency that leads to tingling sensation, numbness of peripheries, all this seen, and the paresthesia also seen in vitamin B12 deficiency that is absent in folate deficiency. So if a person is coming with neurological symptoms and megaloblastic anemia, definitely it is because of vitamin B12 deficiency, and because this is important for the treatment aspect. I will explain the next slide. So coming on the treatment, the first line of treatment is correcting the nutritional deficiencies. Okay, so the pharmacological treatment comes into play, which is vitamin B12 and folate injections. So folate is actually B9. Okay, vitamin B12 is cyanocobalamin, B9 is the folic acid. So if a person comes with deficiency, you should ask him to eat the food which is rich in vitamin B12 and folic acid, which is that is meat and fortified grains, egg, red meat and fish, folic acid, green vegetables, beans, peanuts. So if you see this, vitamin B12 is available more in the animal origin foods, and folic acid more are seen in the plant-based foods. Okay, so the important difference is you should not only treat with folic acid. for megaloblastic anemia, because if the person is having vitamin B12 deficiency, the peripheral smear may seen improvements, okay, because folic acid decreases the megaloblast cells, but it worsens the neurological symptoms, because vitamin B12 is essential for the treatment of myelination, that is for demyelination, right? So vitamin B12 also should be given in a person with megaloblastic anemia, and folic acid also should be given in folic acid deficiency anemia. So the megaloblastic anemia is treated with both vitamin B12 and folic acid. I hope this video is helpful for you. Thank you.